Students from Cornwall College took part in national demonstrations this November against the rise in tuition fees and looming government cuts to education. I went along on the march to see what happened, but first I caught up with the Dean of Cornwall College, Mike Lister, to gauge his views on what he thinks about the march and the cuts to higher education.
In terms of higher education funding, that's going to be an interesting one because there will be losses of core funding for a lot of university level courses, but fees will go up. Cornwall College is doing everything it can to support poorer students. It's going to be difficult if the EMA is lost and if child benefit is lost from certain families. It's going to impact it. I do support the students' right to protest and march. I think it's important that they have a voice locally and nationally, and I think as a principle they should get that voice across forcibly.
The Cornwall College Student Union organised coach travel to London to attend the protest. I spoke to Tony Pearce, Cornwall College SU President, and asked a number of students how they felt.
I really hope that the government sit up and take notice of us today. I think it should be difficult to ignore 25,000 students marching outside their offices in London. But obviously some of the MPs we've got at the moment have got a track record of ignoring students and going back on their promises.
I'm coming on this protest because we want to stop the government from decimating further in higher education.
The reason I'm going up is because I just think it's a bit outrageous what they're doing.
They're just taking all this money away from us. Don't see what it has to be college students, really.
We are here today to get our EMA for next year.
Yeah, to stop the cuts for EMA.
I need to pay for my bus pass, and that's a lot of money a year.
The reason why I'm going is I want to be able to go into higher and further education. I think the STEMO is really good and it needs to show the government that they can't just do what they want to. They're being public reaction.
I don't come out of university with 30, 40 grand worth of fees. It's ridiculous for a student. We cannot simply afford it. So today we're here to change things.
On arriving in London, it became clear that the march was going to be much bigger than anyone had anticipated, with over 50,000 people taking part. Students directed their anger at Nick Clegg and the Liberal Democrat Party, which they feel have lied to them about the fees. Nick Clegg, shame on you! Towards the end of the march, protests became more heated. I saw students climb a scaffold and others let off fireworks in the crowd. Police presence was initially low, but as protesters marched towards Conservative headquarters, tensions grew and riot vans were called out, as a small number of protesters vented their frustrations on the buildings in Millbank. It seems that for students, both the cuts and the rise in fees are inevitable. One thing, however, is certain, that this is one issue the government will find difficult to bury. Tobias Brown, Cornwall College News, Central London.